Next game, Buccaneers Falcons 21-15. This is the game where I can just go off the top for a little bit. We were at home, welcomed in. We're hosting the Atlanta Falcons, and I mean, from the get-go, we were doing really good. Defense was really showing they can shut down the mostly run from the Atlanta Falcons. Kyle Pitts didn't play; he had a hamstring injury, so we thought their offense was going to be pretty limited, and they actually did just run the ball mostly, but. Something about our defense this year, we aren't as dominant in the run game. The last 2 or 3 years, we've been really dominant, only allowing a couple, like 70 maybe, if that, yards a game in rushing. But the last couple of weeks, Chiefs and these Falcons, they were able to run the ball a lot against us. Algier, their other running back, Mariota, was able to, get loose out of the pocket and scramble for a lot of yards. It was interesting to me. Is that Clay working? No, I was joking. It was interesting to me to see how they were able to get so many rushing yards and how those lanes were opening up so much. But we were able to sustain it for the first half. We went up 21-0, I think, in the first half. We weren't letting them score. They would get to the red zone and we would get a turnover, or they would try to go for it on fourth and we would stop them because they mostly only could run. They had Drake London and Zacchaeus were the only 2 receivers that actually could do something for them. We already know Ridley is suspended for betting and shit like that for the whole year, so they didn't have much going for him. Tom Brady was able to go 35 for 52, 351 yards and 1 touchdown. Leonard Fournette, 14 carries, 56 yards, a touchdown, 10 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown, 2 touchdown. Lenny had him on my team in fantasy. He put up about 34 points in fantasy, which is really good. Mike Evans, 4 catches, 81 yards. Chris Godwin, 6 for 61. The touchdown pass Tom Brady had was to Fournette. Marcus Mariota went 14 for 25, 147 yards and a touchdown pass, with 7 rushes and 61 yards himself. So this game was pretty much got a lot of controversy, got talked about a lot due to some controversy that happened during the game. The roughing the passer call, everybody knows, everybody saw it. Grady Jarrett came in, had Tom Brady dead to rights in the pocket. Tom Brady tried to get away. He wasn't able to. Jarrett grabbed him around the waist and twisted him down. He landed on his shoulder, didn't land on his head, but the referee threw a flag for roughing the passer. Ever since that Tua thing happened last week, to where he was on the ground, knocked out with his fingers all twisted up, and his concussion that he sustained against the Bills when he came back in the game. There was a rule change implemented like right after that game, to where if they saw anything that needed to be flagged, if they're going to protect the quarterbacks a little bit more, just so they don't, because quarterbacks what everybody comes to watch. Quarterbacks what everybody tunes in to watch on TV. They say ain't nobody tuning in just to see Micah Parsons. Ain't nobody tuning in to see TJ Watt. Ain't nobody tuning in just to see Justin Jefferson. No, they're looking for the quarterbacks and the marquee quarterback matchups, and they're going to protect the quarterbacks a little bit more to be able to, protect their bottom line and protect their sport. So this is what they're going to do. So I guess from afar, the referee thought that Grady Jarrett threw Chris Jones is something I'll get into a little later with the Kansas City Chiefs, but Grady Jarrett tossed him down and thought he threw him on his head, so he threw the flag for roughing the passer, which was a really crucial time because we were on the way to going 3 and out and giving them the ball back when they had scored a bunch of touchdowns off of rushing and shit like that. It was 15-21 at the time. They went for 2-point conversion after they scored the second touchdown, so they could have scored a touchdown to either win it or go up by 2, or to go take the lead up by 2 or whatever. But that call changed the whole thing because it gave us an automatic first down and it allowed us to take knees and end the game. Really, really controversial. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just happy to be on the positive side of the call. But I mean, they're protecting quarterbacks and the concussions are bad, so they want to make sure they're doing everything they can not to get sued, and to protect the players and protect their bottom line. I mean, the refereeing is kind of bad this year. We've seen a lot of bad calls, especially in that game alone. Tom Brady was trying to run him, go for it on 4th down under 2 minutes in the second half. The referee took the ball, didn't let him go for it, and messed up the element of surprise and let the Atlanta Falcons substitute when they weren't allowed to substitute. And then there's a couple of pass interference calls that they didn't call when they forced Scotty Miller out of bounds and jumped into his body before the ball got there. There's 2 of those. And then they did call a bad holding call against AJ Terrell against Mike Evans. It was a hold. I thought personally that wasn't as egregious as the roughing the passer or the out of bounds pass interference calls. But I don't know. They do a lot of stuff like to get even. Once the referees mess up something, they try to get even and get back in the team's good graces by giving them a makeup call. But I don't know, man. It was kind of messed up, and it is kind of fucked up for the referee to be able to determine the game that way, and to either take away a victory from the team that could have came back or lighten the victory that the team that did win, because everybody gonna think that they cheated and they were able to get the victory because of the referees and all that bullshit. But anyways, either way, the Buccaneers were able to win and get off that 2-game losing streak, and Tom Brady stays undefeated against the Falcons, so they move on to being 3-2.